Alright, welcome back to another video. So today is another Gen 4 CRV video. This applies to all 2012 to 2015 Honda CRVs. So today I'm going to show you how a professional like myself installs a remote car starter on this Honda CRV. So first thing I'll say is you can easily do this yourself. It is much cheaper to do this yourself than to pay someone to do it, obviously. You can also order kits that take out some of the programming that's going to be required that I'm going to show you how to do in this video. So for my purposes today, I bought this kit here. It's called the Evo One. It's from Fortin, and it's a kind of a company that makes universal car security and remote start systems. And what's nice about this kit, this part number here, is it comes with the Evo One, which is the module that controls the remote start and the bypass and the alarm. It also comes with a Honda specific harness. So if you go on the Fortin website, you can look up your vehicle, in our case this 2012 to 2015 CRV, and it will show you that we can use an Evo All or an Evo One. There's some differences between the two. I usually like to use this Evo One, a little more expensive but worth it. So here's the module itself. It comes with these semi plug and play harnesses. So we'll only have to make a few connections to the car. Then a hood switch if you need it, in which case I don't think we do this time. Here's our valet switch. And then you can choose how you want to activate the remote start system. So you could just use the factory remote. You could do press the lock button 3 times. You could press lock, unlock, lock 3 times, depending on how you program it. That's what a lot of people choose to do, but I wanted a lot more range. So for just these parts right here, we're at $130. So that includes the unit itself and the plug and play harness for Honda. $130. So if you just wanted to use your OEM remote, that's basically going to be the intro cost there. I added on this 2-way 1-button system. So this just plugs right into the Evo One, and it gives you these little 1-button remotes. And what's nice about these remotes is they give you audible and visual confirmation that the vehicle has started or not. You can also lock and unlock the doors with this one. This is the RM912 kit. This is advertised as long range, up to 6,000 feet. Like I said, 2-way confirmation. This itself is $180 just for this add-on. So you can see the price starts growing rapidly when you add on an external remote kit. But this is the most expensive one since it's 2-way. You can add on a RM411 1-way remote that looks just like these little ones, except it doesn't have the 2-way confirmation, for about $130. Or you can even add a cellular kit that you have to pay a yearly fee, and then you can remote start the car with your phone. They all plug in about the same way. The one thing about buying an Evo One or an Evo All straight from the manufacturer or through a reseller is that it will not come programmed for your vehicle. You must program it using the Flashlink programmer. And I'm going to show you how we do that. It's actually pretty easy, and it's nice because you can pick exactly what options you want, whether you want security or not, whether you want to use the OEM remote or not. There's a lot of different options. This is another $40 for the Flashlink kit. Now if you buy this from a reseller, a lot of times they will flash it for you, included in the price of the kit. It just depends where you buy it for and what the kit is meant for. Obviously mine is not set up that way, so I'm gonna have to flash it myself. Shows us here, this is a installation guide specific to our vehicle that you can print off for free from the Fortin website. And they also include a wirecolor.com PIN number, which allows you to have access to print a complete wiring harness diagram for the vehicle one time. So it shows what firmware version we will need, and this will all come into play later. Options are ORM remote status monitoring. So obviously if we use our ORM remote to enable and disable either the remote start or the security system. The program bypass option, which is only if you have an OEM alarm system on your car. It can basically disarm the OEM alarm so it doesn't go off. And then if the vehicle is not equipped with a functional hood pin, it'll tell you that you have to program it to use the hood pin because they say it's required. It isn't, but for safety, you should use the hood pin. All right, and then it gives us other options, so we can enable 3 times lock to remote start with the OEM remote. Like I said, I probably won't be doing that in this situation. And then it shows parts required, T harness 1 Honda 2, which is what we have here. Okay, so go to the next page. It gives us a general overview, shows you how to make all of our connections. In our case, we're plugging in almost a plug and play harness, and I'll show you here in just a minute how that looks. But it's quite comprehensive. If you've ever done any kind of mobile audio installation, their guides are pretty good. So now I'm going to get this hooked up to the computer and I'll show you how we program it. All right, so before I forget, real quick, if you're using this with an automatic transmission, you have to cut this yellow loop, which you could do later, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it right now before I forget about it. And what most people do, I mean, then you can't ever, take it out and use it on a manual transmission car. It's like just cut it off right at the body, but you can just snip it up here and tape it if you want. All right, so once we have everything connected, as you can see, we go to log in. All right, so once you're logged in, this is the screen we'll see. Flashlink updater is currently inspecting the module. Please do not disconnect your device. All right, now it says currently fetching options. This is just going to take a few seconds. All right, so now we're to this screen where it says Evo One. So we're going to click Start. All right, so we can select our vehicle. I say we're doing our Honda. Okay, this mine's a 2013. See for CRV. Standard key. Is your vehicle equipped with an OEM alarm? Yes or no? Mine is not. So do a remote start, remote starter and alarm system, or alarm system only. I'm going to do the remote start and alarm. I'm going to select no control with OEM remote. Please select the RF kit. So here's where we find the one. I'm using RFK912. I showed you, but there's a bunch of other just to choose from. Okay, please select remote start runtime. So this is basically walking us through this setup. You can go through the options manually. Let's see, please select connection type. So we have our T harness, or you can select wire to wire. All right. Installation method, key programming 1, key sacrifice no, takeover yes, decryptor no. So it's just basically showing you that one key is required to program the vehicle, one working key. You don't have to have a spare one to put in anything. It says that vehicle engine will not shut down when the doors are opened or whatever. No key data decryption process. So pretty easy installation. So there's our settings, and we're going to click flash. Click flash. Just going to take a minute. As you can see, just a little bit of stuff happened there. It tells you right there the progress. It's 11%. Okay, so it basically programs the alarm side and the remote start side separately. That's the you know, guided setup process way to do it. So you can go through and kind of do these manually. You see this is our bypass option or remote starter option list. So if there was something that you needed to change in here, let's say you just wanted to change one setting, you would go up and click Edit Options. This is where you, like, let's say you wanted to change the run time. We're already at our maximum time. So if you did not have automatic door locking capabilities, you could go through and add that. This is where system control by OEM remote. So it's disabled. So this is where you can press 3 times lock to remote start. I am going to just click that enable control by OEM remote. That way our alarm can be controlled by the OEM remote. All right, so now I'm on the bypass side after I saved their side. So to change any of these options, you have to turn protection settings off. So if I do that, you can see what the setup is here. Door locks are on, trunk release on, key bypass on. Now unlock driver door only. So this gives priority to the driver's door, just like the factory remote. So I am going to turn that one on. OEM remote monitoring. Now this unlock before and lock after. So automatically unlock and disarm before remote starting and relock and rearm after remote start. We will see how that works. Sometimes that causes problems and that has to be turned off. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it off now because we do not have an OEM alarm. All right, I'm going to save these options. All right, so now from here, here's the guides. I showed you we already printed the one out. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and go get started on the car. All right, so now we're out the car. And the first step to the installation is we need to remove our trim panel down here and the underside of the steering column here. So if we look under here, there's a little panel that just pulls out of here. Then we have one screw, Phillips head. Okay, set that somewhere safe. And then what you have to do is take your key and if you turn the ignition on, you can see there's a couple of points that we need to pry apart on each side. All right, once we pry this up, this top panel up, you'll see that on each side, if you turn the wheel, there's a screw. So just take that screw out with your Phillips head, and then this bottom trim panel will fall out. All right, so now you can get a better idea of everything here. Here's our ignition harness right here. You can see if we take our large harness here, this is the piece that plugs in to the controller. So we're just going to unplug this. That's how that gets unplugged. Goes in there. And then gets plugged back into here. Same way. Okay. Obviously we'll have to zip tie all this extra harness out of the way of the mechanism to release the steering wheel. Now we'll take our other harness. So this is our ignition, our immobilizer. All right, so this is actually the immobilizer connection right here. So we'll unplug this. And we take our other harness here. this gets plugged back in right here. Just pull the extra wires out of the way for now. Okay, so obviously that will get tucked and zip tied once we make all of our connections. All right, so with our smaller harness, immobilizer harness, where it plugs in up here, there's 2 wires sticking out. So you have a pink wire right here. That is going to be make a connection to the blue wire for our parking lights, which is a negative trigger. So up here, there's a little connector back here. Okay, we'll want to pull that out and it will look like this. And we will connect that wire to the blue wire for our parking lights. So just cut some of the insulation. I'm going to solder it on there. Okay, and then there's also this orange wire with a black stripe on it. That is our our horn connection. And that's going to be connected to a orange wire in the factory 20-pin harness, and I believe it's this one here. So that will be just like that. You see the orange wire, which is next to the brown wire right there for the horn. So I'll strip some of this back, make that connection. That'll be our horn connection. All right, so we'll have to cut all these wires off, and I'll do that at the end when I tidy everything up after I get it programmed. The last little bit of wiring I need to do is to run my antenna kit. So actually we can just run it up in the pillar here, and I'll show you where I put the antenna. You can just pull off this trim right here. You can kind of see, and then I should be able to fish the wire back through behind there and bring it over to our module over here. You just want the antenna someplace high on the windshield. It could be in the corner, or you could put it in the middle, just depending on what works for you. All right, so there is just one more connection, the ground wire. It's on this little loop here. So where I'm gonna mount that to is right up to this metal. You can see there's this metal frame rail that runs right through here. I'll just use a self-tapping sheet metal screw and zip that to that real quick. All right, you can see we've got our ground connected. All right, so now we're ready to start programming. So I'll show you what we do to program this. Just make sure you have your key ready to go, all your connections ready to go. We're going to find our programming button right here. We're going to press and hold it. Then we're going to connect this connector right here, and the LEDs will alternate between blue, red, and yellow, and release them when they are red. So holding the button down, see they're alternating. Okay, we're gonna let go when they're red. And we're gonna go ahead and connect our other connectors here. Okay, so we've got our connectors plugged in. Now we're going to press the program button twice. The red LED will flash once and then pause. So 1, 2. Okay, now we're going to stick our key in the ignition. We're going to turn the ignition on. You see it flash rapidly red and then flash rapidly blue. Okay, now once it's flashing blue rapidly, we can go ahead and turn the ignition off. All right, so this next step is optional. If you got the aftermarket remote set up like I did, you need to grab both those remotes, and we actually need to program those to the vehicles because they are not programmed to it by default. So if you want to pay attention, you can see where I mounted the antenna here, or the receiver. It's got a light on it. We're going to put our key in the ignition, and we're going to turn it to run, the second position, and then we're going to turn it off, and then back on, and then I'm going to press the brake pedal 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see the horn honk, or you can hear the horn honk. I'm going to press and hold this transmitter button for approximately 12 seconds until the light is on solid. Like that. All right, honked, it's programmed. I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. I'm going to press and hold until the light is on solid. Okay, and now we'll turn the ignition off. All right, so now I can show you how this works. So if we press the button once, real quick, it locks our doors. You can see the light starts flashing. If we press it twice, it unlocks. And then if we press it twice again, it unlocks all the doors. You can hear the horn honked. That's an option that I turned on unknowingly in the settings. So that's why I left everything kind of loose like I did, because I'm going to have to take that out and reprogram it, because I do not want it to honk like that. But again, lock. Hit lock again. It honks twice. I don't need to do that either. It's kind of annoying. Now if I press and hold it, so you can see it works. And now you can either use the little remote or just use the factory remote to unlock the doors to get in. For key takeover, we just stick the key in the ignition and turn it to on, and then press the brake pedal, and then you can run the car that way. Or if we just press the brake pedal, you can see it shuts the car down if the key is not in the ignition. So that's really all there is to it. I'm going to get everything tidied up. Like I said, I'm going to go back and make that one change in the programming so it doesn't honk. I remember seeing that in the list of options. And then it's just a matter of tidying up all of our wiring. So get yourself some good high quality tape and some zip ties. Bundle everything up. We'll get stuff zip tied out of the way. Make it look neat. Get everything tucked out of the way. That's all there really is to installing a remote start on your Gen 4 CRV. It's not really that hard. Honestly, the hardest part is making those little soldered connections to these wires here. But obviously the horn and the parking lights are optional features you don't have to have. So if you didn't want to make those connections, you saw how easy it was just to use the T-harness and plug everything in. That would be all that's required. Programming, again, just follow the instructions step by step, and it's pretty easy. So if you'd like to purchase this system, again, you have to program it. It does not come programmed. So you need the Flashlink updater, but I'll leave all the parts that I used in the description like I always do. If the video helped you out, be sure to like it. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and until next time, we'll see you later.